Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums. I have already done a tutorial on how we made this It's a Boy baby book. We started with making the album, doing the pages, and then adding the features. This video is how I decorated the pages. So I don't always do this. I usually leave decorating up to you, but I thought somebody might want to get the measurements and see exactly how I decorate the pages and a little bit of insight into why I use certain things that I use. So let's get started in decorating the pages. All right, we're going to start with decorating the front cover. A lot of times I will make the front cover and just put it aside and add it at the end of decorating everything, just because you move the book and I don't want it getting scratched up. But in this case, there's not too much dimension, so I'm not going to worry about it. And a note is I did not ink anything. If you want to, you are quite welcome to ink the edges. We are starting with a base of the dark green from the solids. This piece is 6 3/8 by 6 3/8. And then I am going to take a piece. This is from the Under the Moon, I think it is. This is 6 1/8 by 2. And this is from the back of the trains. This is 6 1/8 by 4. So I'm going to put the 6 1/8 by 2 up at the top, having a small border all around it. So there will be about 1/8 of an inch on the top and the two sides. Just make sure it's even. There we are, we're good. Gonna burnish that. And then this other piece will go down here. Now if you wanted to, you could use this. I mean, you could use whatever you want. But I am going to just have the patterns showing as opposed to the train. In this case, I want the piece that's going to be in the center to just get all the attention. All right, so we'll burnish that. I also have two pieces. These are both 6 1/8. This is 1/2 inch and this is 3/8 of an inch. This came from that paper with the leaves on it. And then this is the dark blue. I guess you could use the yellow. You could use whatever color, but I'm using the dark blue. You could use the green too. That would be fine because green is the base color. So I'm going to add this onto here and just try to make sure it's as straight as possible. I like having stripes. There we go. And then to make sure it's straight, either you could line it up with the bottom of this top piece or the top of the bottom piece. I'm going to line it up with the top of the bottom piece and add glue. I like to have something stripy. Separating my two pieces. Now the only thing is it does add some dimension, but there's only 2 layers. It's not a big deal. Okay, so now what I have done, I have my cut apart. So that's 4 by 4, and then I have a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece of white cardstock, and my idea is to put that on here. Now I'd like to have a little bit of dimension in here. I happen to have 2 of these just because I had a couple of different sets of the paper. If you only have one, you should have scraps of this piece. It's got the animals and the trees, and you can use this one. It's sort of tone-on-tone pattern paper. Use that and cut that out 4 by 4. And then I'm going to take a 2 3/8 circle punch, hoping that's going to work, because I'm going to have to cut this down so I can get my circle punch in here. That'll work. And I'm going to punch It's a Boy. I also have a piece of fun foam. Now I don't know if this is going to punch on my fun foam. I'm hoping it will. If not, I'll have to use some dimensional adhesive. Of course, I can't even get it in here, so it might not work. Well, it sort of worked. But not very nicely, so there goes that idea. I could use a die to do it, but it's just as easy to get some dimensional adhesive. So I have this from scrapbook.com. It is 1/8 of an inch wide, and it's very thin. It's 1 millimeter thick. So I'm going to put that around my circle. I'm going to take a whole piece. And I'm just going to go around the perimeter. I'm staying a little away from the edge just because I don't want it to show. So I'll just put it around. And it meets there. I'm just going to cut that and then add a couple pieces to the inside. Alright, peel off the backing of all of these pieces. That is not the neatest thing I have ever done in my life, but it's better than using that, right? Sometimes we have a fail. So I'm going to put It's a Boy, try to line it up with where It's a Boy is. Again, just to have a little dimension. You don't have to. It's okay. I don't think it was necessarily worth the bang for the buck. Do I want to round the corners? Yeah, I don't think so. So it's just because I don't have the chipboard frames that I used on the other ones. I really liked having the chipboard frames. So let's see how that looks. That's okay. And I guess I could raise this up, but since I've got that dimensional, I'm not going to. I'm just going to glue this down. And I again apologize. The air conditioning is going. It is very hot here. I'm sorry, you'll hear the whirl of the air conditioning every once in a while, but it is what it is. All right. And then when I'm done adding everything, I'm going to add a sticker here, maybe some enamel dots there. So as I said, I am going to put this aside and wait till... Oh, no, I decided I wasn't, didn't I? All right, I will go ahead and add glue. So I try to stay a little away from the very edge, 1/8 of an inch, so that when the glue smushes out, it will get to the edge, but not be excessive. Make sure I have the front of the book instead of having it upside down. Have you ever done that? So there should be 1/8 of an inch all around. I worry more about having it 1/8 of an inch, the sides, the top, and the bottom, than I worry about the spine. It looks sort of blah to me, but again, once we put the stickers and enamel dots, it'll be fabulous. All right, for the spine, so this is 2 inches. The chipboard is 2 inches, so I always cut this, the width of the chipboard, and then since this is, the book is 6.5, this is 6 3/8. I also have this piece, which is 1 3/4 by, it was 5 3/4. I could have cut it down, but it's okay. So I'm going to put that down. And center it at the bottom. And then I have this little piece of blue. It is 1 inch by 1 3/4. Oh, do I want that? Nah, I'm going to keep the blue. And I'll put that at the top, overlapping that other piece that we already put down. And then I also have this one little 1/4 inch piece. It's 1/4 inch by 1 3/4. And I will put that down below that blue. And then I will add some kind of sticker right up there, or you could add a charm dangle if you have it. Yes, I tend to add more glue for the covers. All right, I'm going to take my book and open it. And add that. That's cute. Love all the animals. I think that's cute. All right, so that's it for the cover. For right now, again, we will go ahead and add other embellishments as we go. All right, the inside front cover. So my focal point on that was this cut apart. I thought hello was a good way of, introducing us to the book. I will take my corner rounder, the same size that I rounded the corners, and add that and round these corners. And I will add that onto the cover, or the top flap. So that'll go here. Okay, now I've already added a magnet. I have this piece of the solids. Now, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom of this, but we already added that tape. And I'm going to leave this on. I don't mind that it's going to be in there. It's going to be hidden. Nobody's going to see it. But this measures 6 3/8 by 6 1/4. So I will add glue here. Uh-oh. It got stopped up. I unstopped it. We're good. So I will put that in here in the pocket, and then make sure the top comes up to the top there, and it's even all around. So there is that. Did I not get a piece for the top? I have this piece, which is about 2 3/4 by 6 1/8. Wait, that is not, is that big enough? Oh, you know what? I could make it a little bit bigger. All right, so this piece is 6 3/8 by 2 3/4. I meant to use the one with the stars, but I cut it too small. So I'm just going to have to use the solids. That's okay. It'll still be fine. So I'll put that on there, covering the magnet, and we're good. This piece is 4 by 6. This is going to go on the underside of the top flap. So I will round the corners. And there we go. Add that onto here. And there we go with that. Now, for the inside of that pocket, I have a piece of cardstock that's 8 1/2 by 6 1/4. I am going to score this at 4 1/4. I'm going to erase where I wrote. I don't know why I write right on the center, but I don't want that to show, so I'll erase that. And then for this, I have essentially what it equals 4 cut aparts. This one is going to go on the front. Then I have a piece of solid 4 by 6, and then I have 2 other cut aparts, but I'm going to use the back side of those. So I'm going to put this one on the front. And this one says baby boy. So I'll just center it on here. I'll take one of these. It says congrats on your bundle of joy. So I'm not making cards, so I know I won't be using that. So that'll go on the back. And then here I'm going to put the plain one in the center, because if you were giving this to somebody, you could write on here and cover it later with a photo. And then I'll take this one. I mean, you could have that and put that on the top, but I'm going to keep it consistent and have this face down and put that in there. And so this is going to go in the pocket just like that. And there we go. All right, so that's what I'm going to do for the front inside cover. All right, let's do the front of page 1. So I've already added a magnet to both of these. Let's do with them first. I have a cut apart. And because this cut apart inside has rounded corners, I'm going to go ahead and round the corners on the outside of this. And then I've got this other cut apart. I'm just going to use the back of it. I'm going to round the corners on that. And I'm going to go ahead and round the corners on this flap. Probably should have done it before I put on the magnet, but it really doesn't matter. All right, so I'll do the back first. So this cut apart goes on the back. And the reason I have this cut apart on the back is because I needed to cover half of it. Yeah, we'll do that. To hide the magnet. I mean, you could have, and because it'll be on here, and when you open it, you'll see half of it. And then I'll put this on the front of it, because it's cute. Can you see my writing? No. Okay, and then I have 3" by 5 7/8 pieces of the paper with the stars on it. I'm going to put one here. On the left and one on the right. And then I am going to glue, make sure that matches with the magnet. I'm going to go glue this here. But before I do that, let's go ahead and work on the rest of this. I have these tags in the pocket. I have these. These are 3 by 5 7/8. These are going to go inside the pocket. It, of course, doesn't have to be a full 5 7/8. It could be up to 1 3/4 shorter than that. But since I have it, I will go ahead and put it in. Okay. I have 2 of these pieces that measure 1 7/8 by 3, and these will go on the front pocket. And I have 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. That will go on the base page. This piece, sometimes if I put the, actually, I can probably fix that. It was looking a little wonky. Especially when you have a pattern with the plaid. I mean, it's got such a big pattern on it. All right, now I also have, let's deal with the tags. Okay, so the tags themselves are 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so I have this piece that is 2 by 4 1/2, and this piece that's 2 by 1 1/2. What I'm going to do with this, I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to take my tag and I'm going to trace the tag, those angles of the tag, and cut that right on the line. How does that look? I'm going to glue this on. And then I'm going to glue this on, but I need to cut it. I want this color. Now I want the lighter color. Right? Yes, I want the lighter color so it'll show. And then how about if I take this little stripey thing and add that on? And trim some at the top. And grab a hole reinforcer. And punch the hole. Now if you want, you could do the same for the back or just add a solid piece for the back. All right, so that's my quick and easy method for doing the back or doing the tag. Do it. Hole reinforcer. All right, those will go in the pocket. This will go here. You know what? This was not supposed to be glued down. That was supposed to be a tuck spot for this. So this measures 1 inch by 4 inches. So this is 1 1/4 by 4 1/4. And when I do a tuck spot, all right, so here's the top of it. So I like to use 2 adhesives for the tuck spot. You could use 1/8 of an inch double-sided permanent adhesive. And then I like to do a bead of glue right there. And that goes at the top. All right, and then we'll glue this onto here. So I'll add glue on here. And there we go with that. So even though I was supposed to have that as a tuck spot, I could grab something else and put that in, and it's a tuck spot. So there we go with the front of page 1. All right, we are going to do the back of page 1. So let's see what I have in my bag of tricks. Lots of papers. Lots of papers. Okay, so I have a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/8 by 8 1/2. I am going to put that on my scoreboard with the 8 1/2 side at the top and score at 4 1/4. This is for the folder that's going to go in the pocket. Fold and burnish on that score line. The things we're going to put in that pocket is that all right, we will add this to the front of that folder. You know what? I'm going to erase this just because. Okay. Put that aside. I have these pieces that are smaller than 1/4. They are 3/16. I know I have another one somewhere. I'll find it. But anyhow, this is for this gusset. So I'm going to add this to the gusset. You don't have to. I just don't like these to be plain. It's 4 inches. It's 4 inches tall. Where's all my little doohickeys here? Nope. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's why I said oh boy. Okay, this is going to go on the outside of that flap. I just thought that was cute. Oh boy. So this cut apart was the inspiration for the page. I decided to use the baby bottles because of that oh boy. I only used this tan just in one spot. There wasn't really that much tan in this collection, so I didn't use it all over the place. So that is a 3x4 size cut apart. Oh, here's the other tan piece, or piece for that little flap. Okay. Now let's see what else we got. What else we got? I have this piece that is 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. Well, two of those actually, and the baby bottles that are 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. So close this. This one with the bottles goes on the outside flap. All right, on the inside, we've got, I'm going to use the plaid. Let's open this up. All right, this will go here. And then this one will go here. Just going to dry fit it first. Just because when I add a flap sometimes, it, if I don't put it on right, it may make it a little smaller, but it was fine. So that'll go here. And I have a piece that is 2 3/8 by 5 3/8. That is just the plain blue solid. And that's going to go inside, or I'm sorry, on the top, the pocket flap. That's what that is, the pocket flap. Okay, and this solid, which is 5 3/8, it's by 4, but you can make it longer. I have this corner that's got it wasn't cut straight. So of course I'm going to put that corner in here so you don't see it. And that's going to go in there. Okay. Now, so I've got this piece and I just don't want it, it's 3 by 4. I want it a little smaller than 3, and I've got room to cut it about 3/16 of an inch. I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch off of each side. So it'll be 2.5 by 4 when I'm done. And I'm going to round the corners. All right, so that's 2.5 by 4. I have a piece of 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. I'm going to cut it down to 2 3/4 by 4 1/4, and around the corners of that. This is where you can use your scraps. You know, you'll have a lot of pieces left over from where you cut everything down. That's fine. And I'm just going to put this on here and add this to the flap. Now I don't have to put anything on the back because it's not going to, you're not going to see this. Just try to center it on there. And there we go. And this little piece will go in that pocket. Okay, here I need a piece. All right, this piece is 5 3/4 by 5 1/4. I am going to glue this down on the front of that flap. Oopsie. So the front of here. And I'm going to have a tuck spot. This was part of a cut apart, and I am going to cut it out about 1/8 of an inch away from the image. Now just take your time with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, and I'm going to just cut across the bottom. I guess I could have cut that before I... There we go. A little straighter. Okay, and then again, for my tuck spots, I'm going to add some of this 1/4 inch tape. 1/8 inch would be fine. And then add a bead of glue along the top. And glue this. I'm going to go justify it over a little bit to the left. Glue this on the bottom. And I have this piece. This measures 4 by 4. And I guess you could use a cut apart here if you wanted to. And I have a piece of white cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. This will be a photo mat. And this will go in the tuck spot. I'm not going to put it all the way down for now because the glue's drying, but I'm just going to sort of tuck it in there. So this will close. Oh, over here. Over here. So another photo mat. So this one is 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. This is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. I'm going to glue this down on here, but on 3 sides, the 2 sides and the bottom. I'm holding it on the top, and I will just center it on the page. I'll let that dry. Let me grab my bone folder, burnish it a little bit. Sort of push up at the corners. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. And then I have this piece of cardstock that's 2 1/2 by 4 1/2. And this piece of solid paper that's 2 3/8 by 4 3/8. I'm going to round corners. I'm going to just round the top corner. Perfect. Now, we're going to do further decorating. I'm going to go over with the stickers. I'm just doing all the paper decorating. You could put something on the back if you wanted to. I'm just going to put that in. Don't touch any of the glue. And then this will close. And this will close. And that is the back of page 1. Alrighty, for the front of page 2. So we already have this. I just tacked it onto here. I'm actually going to peel off this ATG. I'll put that aside. Okay, so first we're going to start with a 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 piece of the blue solid. Wait. Do I need to add? I do. I'm going to real quickly add a 1/4 of an inch magnet on here. I'm going to take a piece of tape. And I'm putting it about 2 inches up from the bottom. Oh, needs to be over to the right. That's okay. Now you don't really need a magnet on here. So the magnet's there. That's perfect. Okay, so for this, I am going to glue this down. Well, let's go ahead and cover it first. So I have this cut apart. I guess I could go like that. I was going to do this side of it. That's what I had done before. Wait, let's take a look and see. Is that too much verbiage? We've got oh boy, and it says welcome, handsome baby boy. So the reason I like this is because it sort of ties that dark blue in it. I'm going to do that. But the reason I hesitated is because I don't like there to be too much verbiage. Like when you open up a group of pages, I like it just to have one focal point with the writing. In this case, it's got 2. But oh boy is just, it's okay. It'll work. Okay, now I will add glue on 3 sides. 2 sides in the bottom. And holding it at the top, making sure. You know what I forgot to do? The magnet. Can I get this off? I can't. So you get to see me deal with an error. I'm going to let that dry before I deal with the error. I mean, we all make mistakes. Here is a piece of paper that is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. This is 2 3/8. No, 2 1/2 by 3 3/8. Will that fit? Yes. And in this case, I did round all 4 sides. I'm going to have this side facing up. I think I had striped paper on my example, but that's okay. We can always put a sticker or something. Okay, so now I was going to leave this blank, but I have a magnet here. I will take it. I'm using small magnets. These are 1/4-inch magnets because it's going to just hold a small little flap. So now I'll have to add some paper to the inside, which is not a big deal. Nope, that won't work. I'm looking to see what I have that is the right size. I could use, I could. I'm going to use, I could use solids, but I'm going to use these. Because why not? So I'll put that on the inside. Oh, you could use the cut apart, yes. Oh, you know what? I should glue that magnet down. Oh my goodness. You ever have one of those days where you make one mistake and it's like everything goes wrong? All right, do I want this bundle of joy? What do you think? I think it's too much verbiage. I don't want that much verbiage. I just feel like if you have too many words on a page, you lose focus of what you're trying to say. I don't like this one star there, but you know what? It's okay. All right, and there we go. So again, I'm going to add some stickers here. That's why it's justified to the top and to the left. But there we go with the front of page 2. All right, the back of page 2. So we have a flap and another flap. This flap is meant for a cut apart. So I'm using this one. You are much loved. And I love the little skunky. So I'll go ahead and put this on here. I already have a magnet on there. So there's the magnet on the back. And I'll put this, what color would you call this? Light mint. We'll put that on there. And then for the page, so for the base page, I'm going to put this with the pattern on there. That'll make a nice background for a photo. And this, of course, measures 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. So that'll go here on the base page. And then, because we love the animals, actually, which one? This one with the skunk we'll add to there. And then for here, if you were to add a photo mat of that dark green, that would look fabulous. But I don't think I'm going to add any photo mats on this page. I'll just leave it blank. You can add whatever size photo you want. And I am going to, so if you were going to add a photo mat, then you could use this, but I'm not going to, because again, I like to see the animals. Oh, so this is 5 7/8 by 5 3/8. Wait, is it 5 3/8? No, It's 4 7/8 because the page is 5 inches. It was 5 1/2, and then we scored it at half, so it's 4 7/8 by 5 7/8. And so there we go with that. All right, now we will do the front of page 3, and that is just simply a flap. So I don't have the same paper, but I'm using paper with the leaves that sort of coordinates with this because the leaves are in there. So I am going to put this on the front. And then on the inside, I'm going to use this and this. In this page, these two papers, this one and this one, it's the only instance of where that tan color is. And it's a pretty tan color. All right, so this will go on here. And again, you see the magnets are already there. Okay, so for this page, we've got the trees here as one of the elements on that page. So we're going to put one of the tree stickers here, just to tie it all in together. But I'm also going to add this photo mat. Now I think on one of the pages I added the photo, one of the books, I did 3 of them, I added the photo mat this way. I'm going to add the photo mat this way. And you know, if you're adding your own photos to the book, you can add it whichever way you want, depending on what photos you have. So the white paper is 3 1/2. The brown is 3 3/8, and it is by 4 1/2 by 4 3/8. So I am going to glue this down. I'm not going to make it a tuck spot just because it's in a page with a flap, and I don't want this page to get too thick that the magnet doesn't work anymore. So again, we're going to put a tree here. So there is back of page 2, front of page 3. Okay, the back of page 3. All right, so I made a mistake in cutting this paper. This was supposed to be 2 1/2, and then you scored it at 1/2, so you would have a little over 2, but it's almost 2 1/4. So I must have, somehow I must have messed up. But it works out okay. What I had intended to do is have just 2 rows of the trains on the pocket. But now I'm going to have to make some adjustments. So not a big deal. All right, first I am going to, so this is 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. But I'm still going to cut this off so there are just 2 rows of trains. So I'm actually cutting it at 1 3/4. Now, if you did it correctly, you should be cutting this at, well, 1 3/4. Still only has 2 trains on it, which is fine. You'll cut it a little bit bigger, and you'll get half of a train instead of just 2 rows of train. You get 2 1/2 rows. So I'm going to put this on the bottom of the pocket, and then I'm going to have to do something to fill in the rest of it. So in my scraps, I had this small piece of the yellow. I cut it down to 5 7/8. I'm just going to add this to the top of the pocket. No harm, no foul. It'll look okay when it's all done. I was toying with the idea of using the dark blue. Oops, why does it look so much bigger. Maybe I didn't cut it correctly, but in any case, I need to cut a little bit of this off. I've already glued most of it down. I won't want to peel it all off. So there we go. All right, and then here, I'm just turning this over, and this is going to go in the pocket. So if you cut it correctly, you're just going to have it go right to the right underneath the pocket. You'll have probably about 1/8 of an inch. Not a heck of a lot, but just cut it carefully and you'll be fine. Now, if you wanted to, you could cut an entirely different paper. I'm trying to put this so it's underneath the paper, but on top of the tabs. And then pull it up so it's even all around. And there we go for that. All right, now what I have for that, so there is this cut apart. Oh, I did a crappy job of cutting that. Look, it looks like there's only about 1/4 of an inch here and there's 1/2 an inch here, but that's okay. We're just going to go with it. So this is a 4x6 cut apart that I have to cut down because obviously once we mat it, we can't put a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 cut apart, which works out fine because it's got the train on it. The cut apart itself, I cut down to 5 3/8. The white cardstock is 5 1/2, and the white cardstock is 4 1/8, and the cut apart is 4 inches tall. I'm going to put this on the back. And that will go inside the pocket. So, oh baby, with the train. So very cool. I like that. It came out okay. It came out okay. All right, now we will do the back, the front of page 4, which is just going to be, now if you wanted to, you could keep the trains here and put photo mats on top. But I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to add a train sticker at the bottom. Let me show you the finished page. See, here's the train sticker at the bottom. It adds a nice little element to it, and then we're going to add these 2 photo mats. So the white cardstock of the photo mats are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and that would bring this to 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. So I'm just going to put those on. And people are saying, oh, can you really get a 2 1/2 inch photo, even smaller than 2 1/2? Yes, you certainly can. You could do 2 inch photos, which wouldn't be too difficult to do because if you print out 4x6 photos, unless you're using like an Instax camera, if you do 4x6 photos, you could get 2x2. Yeah, you could print 6 of them on one 2x6 photo. I use an app called Pic Collage. Now they started charging for it, so I don't use it as much. But I'm sure there's other apps, and as a matter of fact, my photo printer has an app that will size the photos on it. So I'm going to put the one down in the top right corner first. I'm about 1/2 an inch from the edge of the page. This one is going to be about 1/2 an inch from the side and the bottom, and it will overlap slightly. And that's okay. Usually, and if you can, don't glue this very top so you can stick this photo underneath it. Oh, I should have put this one up a little bit, but I guess I'll have my train overlapping this just a little bit. So you could do that. So put it up a little bit. Put it up about 1 inch. Let me show you, like this one. So then you can have the train sticker right there. But that's it. That's it for the front of page 4. Is that where we are? Yeah, front of page 4. All right, we're going to do the back of page 4. So for that, I have this cut apart. I have a 3x4 piece of paper. And then I've got this one. This one has the, yeah, what are those things? The things that you put in babies sleep under. The name will come to me in a second. I know you're all screaming in YouTube land. What is the name of that? It's not a carousel. Well, anyhow, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's got a pretty picture. And I really wanted to use, there's 2 stickers on the sticker sheet. I've already got a magnet down there. 2 stickers on the sticker sheet of this object that shall remain nameless, because I can't think of it. And I really wanted to use it, and I suppose I could put one on here. Excuse me. Anyhow, I'll glue this on. This is 3x4 to match the other one. Now, you don't have to use the solids if you don't want, but I thought that gives you room for journaling. So that's why I wanted to use that. And if you wanted to, you could put a photo on it. Okay. There is that. So it's an easy page. The paper is what makes it wonderful. All right, 5F. Let me show you my original book. So 5F. So we've got a cut apart, a 4x4 cut apart on the front of this flap, and it opens like that, and then opens like that. So you can put 1, 2, 3, 4 photos here. And then there's this little tag that came from the sticker sheet I just backed on white cardstock, tucked into here with the bow tie paper under on the back. The bow tie paper came from that cut apart sheet. Let's put that on because that's easy. Let me just erase. So I used pencil to write my page numbers and sometimes the measurements for when I'm doing the tutorial. Now, it probably would have been better if I took a Post-it note or something like that and put it on. But I wasn't that smart. All right, that's down. So we have this, and on the underside of this, I mean, everywhere there is writing. So I could erase that, but the thing is, in my original one, I didn't have any, it was just white. Even if I erase it, you're going to see the writing. So I'm going to have to cover it. So the front cover is easy enough. We're going to put this handsome little guy, 4x4 cut apart. I thought that was cute with the bow ties. Sometimes people dress their babies in these handsome little outfits with the bow ties. And so I thought that was appropriate. Okay, you'll notice that I have the magnet, and I have a sizable magnet. It's a 3/8 of an inch magnet on the inside of this little folder. I would have put it on the outside except for writing on here. So now what I have to do is cover this with paper. So I'm just going to use some solids. I want to do that one. No, it's not. This is not a predominant color on my pattern paper. So I'm just gonna. So anyhow, to cover up my goof up, my writing, I had to cut 5 4x4 solids to put inside here to cover up the writing, or else you would see it. Now, whoops, I probably should have done the dark blue. I'll do it in the next one. You guys do what you want. Again, you probably won't write on it like I did, but if you do, no big deal. Did I cut too many of these? Oh, I might have. I might not have needed them all. And do I want the dark blue? Let's do the dark blue there. All right, so we've got that, and then the magnet is on the back here, and that's okay. I could have put it underneath this paper, but I'll save a layer, because we're going to have that tag from the sticker sheet in the pocket. And so we'll just add this. Make sure I have enough room to add the little tag. And we'll center this on here. With these, burnish. Open this up and burnish. Okay, so there we go. Handsome little guy. That little tag adds a nice little touch to it. So that is the front of page 5. All right, we're getting there. The back of page 5 is just simply this piece of paper that is 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. You can add a photo mat if you wish onto here. I mean, a dark blue photo mat with a white mat underneath would be really pretty. I just love this paper. I don't know what it is about this paper. The colors, the pretty clouds. I don't know, but I just love the paper, and I decided not to put a photo mat on it. That is all you have to do to decorate the back of page 5. All right, now we're going to do the inside back cover. So it is this 4x6 cut apart. We've got this flap underneath to hold it. It's a waterfall. You usually see the flaps on top. So this will come down, and then we've got this flap, and then you can see the waterfall. And I've got the star, the blue, the star, the blue. Now, you can decorate it how you want. And if you wanted to, if you have enough paper, you could fill this whole sheet in. But again, in the interest of not making it too bulky, I just left it, most of it blank, just the bottom has the pattern paper. It'll look nice when you get a picture. Now again, you could put this flap here and glue the sides and make it a pocket. Then you'll have this going like that, which is fine too. I would, of course, decorate it a little differently, but I have it like this. So let us grab our papers. So first I have this waterfall that we made, so we will decorate that. Oh, I did not put a magnet on, so let me grab a magnet. I'm going to use some 3/8 of an inch magnets, just because this might get bulky, and I don't know, it just seemed to be the best idea to do. We'll use bigger sided adhesive. My tape drawer is right behind me, so I just have to half turn, and there it is. So I am going to put my tape here. I just peel off a little bit of it, and I'll put magnet on here and cover it. Add the other magnet. Whoops, where'd you go? And then add a drop of glue in the very center of it on the top. Pull that down. Peel off that glue. So I see where the other tape should be. Put the tape there, and the trick is to make sure the tape is about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, so when you add the pattern paper, you don't see the tape and you certainly don't see the magnet. So now I'll push that down and it sticks on there. And we're good, except for the fact that I should have put that on the front. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it on the front. And the reason I should have put it on the front is because I'm going to leave the back plain. So to do that, reach into my bag of tricks, and I've got this undo. It's basically lighter fluid, but it will help me peel off my tape. I'll put that there, push that down. Okay. So now it's on the front, because that's fine, because I've got this cut apart. So let me glue this down before I mess up anything else. So this will just get centered on the page. Okay, there we are with that. I also have this little piece. So of course that cut apart was 4 by 6. This piece is 2.5 by 2 7/8. No, it can't be 2.5. Huh? It is 2.5, but it's too big. It should be 2 3/8. 2 3/8 by 2 7/8. That makes sense because the paper was 3.5. We scored it at 1/2 inch for the fold. So this will go on top. Now you could round the corners of this if you wanted to. I chose not to, just because I sort of like the straightness, all the squareness of it. You could have rounded it just to take away some of that, but since most of this is going to be hidden if you fold it the way I do, it would be okay to keep straight. See, I'll go like that. All right, we're good there. Now we've got this bottom flap. I've got 2 pieces, one for the outside, one for the inside. This measures 2. Yeah, this is 2 1/4. This is 2 1/8 by 6 1/8. 2 1/8 by 6 1/8. You'll need 2 of those. I used the back side of this. I'm getting closer to what that word is. That really didn't go on too straight. Let's try that again. Mobile. That's the word. Mobile. Mobile? Mobile. All right, same thing. 2 1/8. 6 1/8. Knew if I thought about it, I would eventually get it. I'll have to erase that or add some paper to it. but I have two with the blue with the stars and two with the yellow ochre with the stars. I started on the bottom with the blue. Wait. Blue, yellow, blue, yellow. All right, the blue is here. So this is just 3/4 by 6 1/8. The first one will go down here. I like to start at the bottom. First of all, I'm matching it up with this one. But if you start at the bottom, then you can make sure you match up the sides, the edges. If you start at the top, you can't see it once you fold it down. Okay, same thing, 3/4 by 6 1/8. A blue one that's 3/4 by 6 1/8. And one more, 3/4 by 6 1/8. Now fold like this, this, this. All right, we are all set. So if you remember on my original book, I had put yellow underneath. The page is 6 1/2 by 6 1/2, so I cut it 6 3/8 by 6 3/8, and you can see barely a 1/16 of an inch around, so I decided it wasn't worth it. You can maybe cut it a little bit bigger. You can always cut it smaller after you cut it bigger. I'm just not going to put it on. I'm just going to put it on the plain paper. I'm not even going to make a tuck spot because there's so much going on with this page. I think if you did a tuck spot, it would sort of get lost. You could actually also use some double-sided tape to help put this down, but I'm using a heck of a lot of glue. I'm going to center it on here. I'll open this up and start burnishing. And there we go. That is the back inside cover. Okay, the back outside cover. So it measures 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. This is 6 3/8 by 4. This is 6 3/8 by 2. We'll work with those first. Obviously, I'm going to put one on the bottom. Now you could just put one piece of paper that's 6 3/8 by 6 3/8 and call it a day. I think at this point I'm usually starting to run out of bigger pieces of paper, and I've gotten used to having a pattern broken up with something in the middle. And plus it uses some of those smaller scraps that you've already cut. Now, does this have to be 2 inches and the other one have to be 4? No. It could be an 1.5 inches or 1 3/4. So put this so this is lined up with the page. Don't worry about this one. All right, so we've got that, which looks nice in itself. You could just put a sticker here and call it a day. But this is from one of the cut apart sheets, and I've cut this down to 6 3/8 by 1, and this is 6 3/8 by, so it's 1 3/16. It's the tick mark between 1 1/8 and 1 1/4, just a little smaller than 1 1/4. You could make it 1 1/4, but I liked a smaller margin. So I'm simply going to glue this down. Although I see there's a little bit of a pattern on here from whatever the cut apart was below there. I'm going to have to take that off. I'm going to have to cut a sliver. Now this Fiskars paper trimmer will cut a sliver. I mean, it's like a hair. It doesn't make that much of a difference on the measurement. All right, I will glue this down. So the edges are going to line up. And there we go. Oh, that's so cute. So because this is plaid and this was cut straight, you could use one of those lines to measure it up, or you could use this top piece and just sort of push it up against that top piece and have it stop there. Or the bottom, that's too big. Do I want to do this? Or do I want to do this? Yeah, I'll use this paper to line it up. I'm using one of the yellow stripe on the plaid to line this up. Going to be right at the top of it. And there we go. There is that. All right, now I'm going to go through and add some stickers. And I'm going to grab some enamel dots too. All right, yeah, that cover needs something. So can go a couple of different directions. Now I'm wishing I had done something different than that, but I'm going to leave it the way it is for now. Here was the original one. This is more interesting. It's got that frame, and we've got a sort of I made a little, I don't know, whatever, that you could put a photo. You could put the baby's photo on here, and so that would be really cute. But I don't have that, so I've got that. I should have taken this, and I still might. I could, this is too small to put on top of here, but if I got another circle of a different color, which I could just take my circle punch. If you see it different in the walkthrough, you know I've changed it, and then put this on there. I think that might help. It might give it a little oomph. But so I could put this teddy bear or some of the toys, just do a grouping of these toys like the blocks, the stacking thing. I don't know, do a group of 3 and put it in the corner. But I think I'm going to do the giraffe just because I like the size of it. I think the giraffe itself is cute. So I'm going to put the giraffe down first. It adds some oomph to my cover. And then since the giraffe is going down first, I only had some dark blue enamel dots. I usually like to use 3 different sizes. I only have 2 sizes. It's not exactly the right blue, but you know what? I don't think anybody's going to notice. So I'll put them there in the corner. I'll use my bone folder and just push them down just so they stay. You could use a dab of glue if you want, but these enamel dots don't go anywhere. So once I add something to here, that'll be fine. I keep my cover simple. You can go all out if you want. So that's what I'm going to do for the cover right now. For my spine, there's this little rainbow here. So you could do, what else is small? One of the pins maybe. Some of the buttons, but I'm just going to do the little rainbow, and that will be perfect there for the spine. Now, you could put something on top here in the center. I'm going to show you what this would look like. I'm not going to use it, but So something like that might be cute, but I am not going to do that. I'm going to just leave it plain just because I like it. I like it. All right. Now, on the original book, I had these stars, and I thought that was enough. But on here, I don't have the stars. So does it need something? Yeah, I think it does. I'm going to take the teddy bear. If there were any of these animals, I would put that here, but there isn't. If there were any of the stars, I would put that there, but there isn't. The stars that they have are this, which has a white background, and that just doesn't do it for me. So I'm going to do that. That's fine. And then you can add something up there if you want, but I am not going to. I am going to take some of these pins, these safety pins, and put one on one side and one on this side. Now, you could add something here. There are, like this, it says, "Oh baby," so that would fit there. I'm going to take it off and show you. Do we want that? Yeah, okay. And then, do I want something on this side? I know some of these other things are going to go in other places. Well, I'm not going to use this rattle thing. So we'll have that. I'm going to put that down lightly. And I'm going to have it say baby boy. That's good. Okay. So what do you think? Is that good? Is that too much? Now this, of course, can come out. We could put it like that. We'll just leave it that way. So that is that. Oh yeah, we're not done. We still have our hidden photo mats to do. But we'll do those in just a little bit. So here, I don't want anything here. I am going to put something there. I am going to take this sticker that says baby boy and put that up there. Just sort of pull all the colors together. And we've got the bottles over here. So I'm going to take this bottle and put it here. I mean, I've got this saying that says cute as a button you could put here, but it's dark blue. Get lost. I've got this thing that says cute and cuddly you could put here. But we've got baby boy, welcome handsome baby boy, oh boy. That's all the words I want to do. I don't think I want to do anything else. I am going to take this little overall outfit and put that here on our little cut apart because that matches this. There. So that closes like that. Oh, wait a minute. I was going to use this. Here. To break up all this plainness. So that'll go like that, that'll go like that. So that is that. Now, do we want anything here? I'm going to think about that. Not do anything yet. So we've got this, we've got the cute little skunk. And like I said, I'm not going to put a photo mat here because I don't want to limit the size. Sometimes I do, but in this case I don't really know what. I'm going to put the giraffe here because we've got the giraffe here. It's on that page, so we'll do that. Here I'm going to take the tree. Because now you can see the tree, well, a little bit when you close the page. And then over here, I'm going to take this dark blue leaf and put it up at the top. This little saying, teeny little thing, says love you. I'm going to sort of put that on top of the leaf. And then do I have any more leaves? Yes. And if you want more leaves than what's here in the stickers, you could always just fussy cut some from the paper. There. So I'll put 2 leaves there, so you can put a nice photo there, or journal. All right, we'll leave that plain. We've got this. I can't think of anything that I want there, but here I was going to put the train. So there are 2 trains that are the exact, are they the exact same size? No, there's one a little bit smaller than that. I'm going to put this here. Now, of course, we said you could move this up an inch. I didn't. It overlaps it ever so slightly, but you could still lift it up and put a photo under here if you needed to. I wish there was a train going the other way I could put here, but there isn't. There's just a train in the same direction. And again, you could fussy cut a train from here. Maybe just put the engine and put a caboose here if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it. We've got welcome baby boy. Now that I remember the name of this, mobile. So there's 2 of them that are exactly the same. I'm going to put this one here. It wasn't straight up and down. So there we go. And we've got handsome little guy. This actually gives us opportunity for lots of stickers. Let me see what else I'm going to do. Well, you know what? I don't have anything in the way. So we'll put that there. We have this little banner I'm going to put up here. Now, if you wanted to, you could use some powder and put it in the center so it doesn't stick. But I'm okay with it that way. I want something up at the top here. We'll do pacifier. And then over here, we'll do that. Okay, there's that. There's also this. Tag. And I have lots of small scraps. Will that fit that way? Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's perfect. There we go with that. And just a little bit of ribbon. Seam binding from my scrap cabin. No, not sponsored. Don't have any discount codes for you. I just like her ribbon. And that'll go there. Okay, I like it. I wish there was something here. I don't have anything to put there. I mean, I suppose I don't want to take the Sleep Tight little one for You Are Loved because that's right there. I already used this. Could put Love You Forever, but I would want to back it on white cardstock, and I honestly just don't feel like fussy cutting that whole thing. Don't want to use this boy. It's a boy because I want to use that in the front. I could put this little carriagey thing there, but it doesn't go. There's no carriages in this picture. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Yes, that would certainly work. Boy, that would have worked there too. So what I really should do is put it on some cardstock. I'm not sure I'm going to use this. We're gonna play and see. Use the tiny little corner rounder. Okay. So what do you guys think? It does add something to it. Otherwise, this is, I mean, I do like that paper, but I think that'll work. So I am just going to add glue to the bottom and just leave it here so you can add a photo and tuck in a photo. Yeah, that's okay. Because if you use you're probably not going to put a perfectly square photo, and even if you do, there's still room. Like if you do a 4x4 photo, and let's say this is a photo. That would be okay. Yeah, that would be okay. All right. Nothing there. Already did that. I'm going to work on that, and that's it. Oh, no, that's not it. You know why that's not it? Because we've got these. So the last thing I need to do is you could use your tag punch board if you wanted to and make tags. Here is my scrap pile. I'm going to go through here and just make some tags. I have a lot of plain ones. I have a couple. So I'll go ahead and make some tags just like I did here and put them on and then put this in the book. If you wanted to, you can cut pattern paper, or you could cut some of the patterns in solids and put here just to make it look a little more finished. So that is entirely up to you. All right, so I did change this. I punched out from a scrap of star paper, which actually sort of brings that giraffe color to light. I think that was a good choice. And then I added that it's a boy sticker on top of it. I think that is much better. What do you guys think? Then we've got this. We've got this folder. And again, I could add some stickers to this. There we go. That goes in there. This is sort of plain. Not sure I like it, but it is what it is. Then we've got Sweet Baby Boy. We've got that. We've got the two tags. Sticker here. Here is a tuck spot. That could go either way. We've got our photo mats now. So you can see the photo mats. Here we've got Oh Boy. That'll open like that. That's a tuck spot. This will open like that. We've got that. You know what? That's where I could have put the other rattle, but I didn't. So it is what it is. But this adds a nice little spot. You know, you could say baby at 6 months and put a couple of pictures in there. Good spot for any size photo. Good spot for a 4x4 photo. That'll close. That'll close. That'll close. This opens like that, and then there is a tuck spot, so good spot for journaling. Could I put, I was thinking, there's a little bottle. I'll put this little bottle here. That's okay. And then there's our hidden photo mat. You are so very much loved. Photo, journaling, photo here if you want. Photo, nice spot for a photo here. That would look gorgeous. Plus a smaller picture and then a good picture. And love that it's got lines if you wanted to journal. Same here. Photo mat. Here is our little oh baby with the train. Little photos. Nothing says you can't put little photos here as well. Photo mat. There's our mobile. Yes. Room for a photo. I like this page. And you know what? I actually like this with the solids. There's a little tag. Photo mat. Yes, that adds something to the page. There's that. Photos. I'll erase that. And there's the back. And there we are. And that is it. That is how I decorated the pages of this It's a Boy mini album. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Have a fabulous day.